Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Gran Turismo 2. Now, if you didn't know, or maybe you've not been around this channel for a long time, Gran Turismo 2 is my favourite Gran Turismo game and perhaps my favourite racing game of all time. It was where I started with the series back in 1999 and I've absolutely loved it ever since. And it has a pretty incredible modding scene. Now, I'm pretty sure you've all heard of Gran Turismo 2 A-SPEC before. This released at the beginning of last year in 2024, and today it got a brand new release in the form of GT2 A-SPEC version 1.2. And I have to admit this here, this might just be my favourite Gran Turismo mod of all time, and maybe my absolute outright favourite mod of all time. It's incredible. It absolutely overhauls Gran Turismo 2 and makes it pure racing perfection. So I'll put a link to their Discord down in the description below if you want to go ahead and try this out for yourself. And I'll also link a video down below by Random Car Guy who did a massive part 1 deep dive into everything brand new with this mod. So in today's video, I'm just going to take you through some of my personal favourite items, including new manufacturers, new events, and actually Formula 1 in Gran Turismo 2. Yeah, you heard that right. So let's get into it then, shall we? Okay, so the first thing I'm going to check out is over in East City. We have a brand new manufacturer here in the form of Isuzu. Yes, we are getting new manufacturers added to GT2 in 2025. Now we have two cars from them, the Bellet and the Piazza. So as you can see, this is the 1600 GTR. We have a bunch of different colour options available. It's a 1970 model, 118 horsepower, and this will set you back 25,000 credits. Now the Piazza right here, the XE from 1981, I could see this being an incredible starter car at 8,500 credits. It has 133 horsepower, a bunch of different colour options, and one of my favourite things from this mod is that every single new model in game has information about it. They've even gone into the effort of actually bringing up the information on the car and telling you all about it. I think honestly this is just incredible for a group of guys that just really love Gran Turismo. So another thing that they've also done is go back to some of their models from 1.1 or the original launch of the version and actually gone ahead and made them look even better or even more accurate, which I just really appreciate. Not only have they gone to the effort of adding, you know, new cars, new manufacturers, new events, and a whole new heap of stuff, they've also gone back to pre-existing stuff that they've already done before and just made it even cooler. So of course A-SPEC is well known for bringing in some very obscure race cars, but if we head over to Honda, there's a car that I want to give mention to, and that is the Honda Insight, which goes ahead and enters the game. I just think this is incredible. It's a car that basically nobody would have thought of, but all of a sudden here it is in Gran Turismo 2. It's just, again, absolutely mind-blowing that these guys have gone to the effort and really shown that they absolutely love cars, love motorsport, and they'll add almost absolutely anything. They basically left no stone unturned. Really, if you can think of it, more than likely it's in here. And even if you can't think of it, they've probably added it. There's a bunch of cars now in this mod that I have never ever heard of in my life. And I like to think that I'm kind of, you know, well versed in the world of motorsport and, you know, race cars and stuff like that. But along comes a bunch of vehicles that you might not even know existed. Now, another thing they've done is kind of added and removed cars from certain dealerships just to kind of make enough room. And in terms of the likes of Honda, you'll notice that Acura is now in the Honda lineup of vehicles. If you do want the actual Honda versions, I believe they're in the used car dealership, so you can still get them. You just have to go a different way about it. Now, one car that I do want to show you, and funnily enough, I was speaking to a friend about this car the other day, and that is the GT300 Honda NSX. So this is going to work in the same way that it always has. It's a racing modification for the NSX Type S0. So we're going to go ahead and purchase one of these, and then we're going to head over to the Tune Shop, which has changed a bit, and I'll mention full models in a minute. But if we go over to Tune Parts, which is in this section, and head over to Others, go down to Racing Modification, we can see the racing modification for this is the GT300 Honda NSX. Just incredible. Now, in terms of those full models, as you can see, there is a bunch of them from different kind of manufacturers and parts manufacturers. So we have the Momo Course Apex MR2. If we go on to the next page, we've got HKS. Some of these are already pre-existing, but they now kind of sit in their own little dealership. From mines, once again, we have the GTR mines, and of course the Lancer Evo 5. If we go to the likes of Mugen, we've got Integra Type R here, the Mugen version. So this really does feel like a whole new area to kind of, explore and find a bunch of different other vehicles. And honestly, once again, just the sheer amount of them is just ridiculous. And if there is a car that you may absolutely loved from GT2 and you can't actually find it, there's a high chance it could be in here. Okay, so the next place I'm heading to is West City, and we do have Ferrari in Gran Turismo 2 now. Now, as you can see from their lineup, we only have a couple of models. We have the 355 F1 Berlinetta, of course, a bunch of different color options for this one, and of course, well, it couldn't be anything else other than the Ferrari F40. I'm incredibly excited to drive this one when I dive more into the game. We also have a couple of special vehicles as well. These are typically in the form of GT300 machinery from JGTC. Again, if you were a fan of this in the early 90s, late 90s should I say, then you'll absolutely appreciate being able to drive these in game. Now, one car that really caught me by surprise is in the Ford lineup, and it's actually going to be the F-150 SVT Lightning. I honestly didn't expect to see a pickup truck in Gran Turismo 2, and I'm pretty sure it wasn't there in the original either. We also have Formula 1 cars as well, which is just ridiculous. They're all official cars from, I believe, the 1999 season, and there's a lot of them. There's the likes of McLaren in there, of course, Minardi that you see in here. Other ones that I've seen is the Stewart, Jordan. There's just a lot of them. Now, in terms of South City, we also have a new manufacturer in the form of Vision. I'll be totally honest here, I've never heard of them, but they do have a couple of cars here. So we have the K2 and also the K2 LM Edition. This looks absolutely insane, and again, it's just another car that I cannot wait to try out. Now, another manufacturer that I don't believe was here last time is Panos. If we go into their lineup, they have a couple of vehicles in the form of two versions of the Roadster. Now, honestly, for me, part of the charm is just seeing new models in that kind of typical Gran Turismo 2 style. I absolutely love it. Now, let's head over to Britain and Germany in North City. We have Quaif here. Now, they have the R4 GTS. However, this isn't the only variant of that car that we have. If we head over to Special, we also have the racing version of that for 1,000,000 credits. Now, we have a bunch of new manufacturers here. In fact, more here than anywhere else in the game. So let me show you. We also have Marcos. Now, if you are from Great Britain, you will very much know this brand. Did a lot of GT racing in the kind of sort of late 90s was when I really remember them. And there is a couple of their actual race cars in game now. So we have the LM600 race car and the LM600 Evo. That right there with that colour scheme is probably the one you do know Marcus for. Another new manufacturer that we have here is Caterham. They do have a few decent cars available, of course mainly based on the 7. We have the Superlight, the Classic, and the 21 1.8. This is a car that not many people know, but it's incredible to see. Now, I'm going to be totally honest here, I could sit there all day and talk about new content in the mod, new events, new parameters for certain pre-existing events, but I guess I should show you a bit of gameplay. Again, if you do want to see a more in-depth guide as to what's new in version 1.2, then of course I will link Random Car Guy's video down below. He does an incredible deep dive to it, but as you can see on screen now, you are seeing Formula 1 cars in Gran Turismo 2. And yes, these are official cars from the 1999 season. Now, I'll be totally honest here. Like, yes, I expected this mod to be even bigger and better than its original release, but I just didn't expect it to be just this good. Honestly, if you've played the original, you need to do yourself a favour and play this version. And if you've never ever tested A-SPEC or emulated Gran Turismo, this for me is kind of the ultimate way to play this game now. It feels like a kind of no stone has been left unturned. Again, in terms of the handling model and the physics of Gran Turismo 2, it is exactly the way you remember it. And honestly, it will probably come back to you much quicker than you expect. Of course, in terms of the actual physics and stuff of the game, they are pretty outdated to, today's standard. But if you like the way that GT2 felt back in the day, and you love the gameplay loop of it, and you love going through the career mode, then honestly, yeah, version 1.2 of A-SPEC is absolutely the ultimate way to play Gran Turismo 2. And it's the ultimate kind of vehicle, race car simulator of the 1990s now. Again, everything from that era is pretty much here now, and there'll be a bunch of vehicles that you probably didn't even know existed. So as you can see, what you saw the footage from there was the F1 Championship. Of course, this is a new event, of course, with 1.2. It is a full championship format event. Now, if we head into special events, there's a bunch of new stuff here as well. As you can see, GT300, GT500. We have a bunch of different parameters with some of the pre-existing events. It's just absolutely incredible what is jam-packed into this version of the game. So endurance events, they're as good as they've ever been and even better. Now, Like the Wind was in the original version of the A-SPEC release. However, we do have midfield 300 kilometers, which I believe is brand new. At least I don't remember taking part in that in the first playthrough that I did of A-SPEC. So let's go back to the gameplay then. This is the GT300 bunch of racers. As you can see, a lot of the newer cars are in here. We have the Ferrari GT300s. We also have the Cusco Subaru Impreza. That is in game. We have both variants of the Ferraris actually out on track now. And again, when it comes to cars that you might not be familiar with, let me just show you this one right here. This is the Hirano MSBP R32 GTS-M. This was a car that I didn't even know existed. I'm a fan of JGTC and Super GT. I always have been, and honestly, this is a really obscure one that I just didn't expect to see, and I didn't even have any knowledge of it. We also have a couple of BMWs right here at the back of the grid as well for good measure. Now, of course, you can't have GT300 without GT500, so here is some footage from one of those races. As you can see, all the classics are here. The Denso Sod Supra Mobile 1 NSX. We, of course, have the Unicia GTR as well. We also have some cars that you might not expect to see, like the J-Lock Diablo, the Tizen Viper. So really, it is a massively fleshed out class now of vehicles. So there's plenty to choose from, plenty to see in both GT300 and GT500. So fans of, you know, JGTC from that era who maybe got introduced for it through Gran Turismo 2 back in the day, well, I'm pleased to report it is bigger and better than it's ever been. So it's not just Japanese touring cars that get a look in. Super Tourers of the era also get their own events, as well as some new vehicles here to play with. Of course, a lot of the, you know, Gran Turismo 2 racing modified cars ended up looking like their real world counterparts, a lot of them being Super Tourers from back in the day. We also have a bunch of new models here as well, a bunch of new liveries. Again, it's just incredible. Even the Alpha 155 has a completely different variant now in the form of its more, I guess, that kind of class of touring car version that was running in the likes of BTCC back in the day. So again, it's not just the Japanese stuff here, it is pretty much worldwide, and any racing series from the 1990s that you can think of will get a look in this mod. Now, it isn't just the kind of real world series that do get a look in with this mod. We also have things that cater towards the LM and RM editions of vehicles. As you can see here, this is the Gran Turismo All-Star series of races. Now, there's a lot of vehicles here that you have probably fell in love with the first time you played Gran Turismo 2, way back in the day. Also mixed in with some new vehicles. We also have different variants of cars. So here we have the Mazda RX-7 GTC LM, and we will have a different version which is currently running at the back of the grid. So again, a lot of these kind of vehicles that are in game, they all serve a purpose. There's somewhere to run them, some way to run them, and some way to kind of get some use out of them, which I think is just absolutely incredible. So I've spoken a lot about the race cars, but it's the exact same for the road cars as well. You'll probably jump into events that you might have already seen and realise, hold on a minute, there's a bunch of new different road cars running in here, mixed in with some of your personal favourites. So again, you know, it's not just the race cars that get a huge feature in this game. Road cars are just as important, and honestly, even some of these, you know, road going concept vehicles are some of the most obscure things you've probably ever seen. Take this one right here, the BMW Nazca C2. This is a car that I'd never heard of, but all of a sudden there it is in Gran Turismo 2. So there we go. I thought I'd just go ahead and show you some of my favourite things from Gran Turismo 2 A-SPEC version 1.2. Again, I'll have their Discord linked in the description down below if you want to go ahead and look at this mod yourself and go ahead and play it. Again, I'll also have Random Car Guys video which kind of details absolutely every single change with version 1.2. That is an incredible watch if you're really interested in this. And again, I just wanted to give a bit of recognition to my favourite Gran Turismo game of all time, which is now bigger and better than it's ever been. That's going to be it from me today. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Peace.